Okay, so I've got another couple of quick projects for you again, Stash Buster projects. I think I've shown this in a live video, but I never actually went over how I did it, but it's so simple. Basically, I just lined up various bits of scraps of card on my ScanNCut mat, and then I chose a circle which I cut at 1 inch, 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch out of all the different various bits of coloured card, and then I literally just assembled them in a kind of colour order. I let some overhang and cut those off, and that's the effect that you get. And then I hand drew the dashed and dot lines round the edge, and then I put this onto my mat and scanned it through the machine to do a background scan, and then I positioned the words and got the machine to write the happy birthday greeting for me. So that's one, really simple. And then this is the one that I'm going to show you how I did in ScanNCut Canvas, another simple Stash Buster project made in scraps of card. And again, once this was made, I scanned it through the machine and I put the thank you on it. Now on this one, I'll just let the machine draw the thank you as it was, and I'm not sure whether you can see, but there are gaps within the stroke lines of the letters. But this one, which was last week's video, is using the same font, only slightly smaller, and I filled this one in so that this looks like a hand stamped project, and I will show you how to do that in another video. Okay, so I'm in ScanNCut Canvas. I'm going to come to the basic shapes. This is the shape that I want. I'm going to come to the properties box, and with the maintain aspect ratio ticked, I'm going to take the size down to 0.75 in this box and hit return, and then close the properties box down. In fact, I still need the properties box, so I'm going to open it up again. With the shape selected, I'm going to select cut line and leave the line as a straight line, and then I'm just going to close the box down. So now I'm going to come to the edit icon, come to the offset icon, and I'm going to use 0.08 on the outward and create an offset line only around the outer edge, and make sure that's ticked and say OK. Now I'm just going to zoom in so you can see. So this outer edge is the only one I want selected, and I'm going to come to the properties box. I'm going to make that a draw line, and then under pattern I'm going to change it to a dash line. So the outer edge is a dash line on the properties box, and if I move it out of the way, the inner line is a cut line. So I'm just going to undo so they line back up again, and I'm just going to go back to the mat. With both of them selected, I'm going to right click and hit group, and then I'm going to create 5 more duplicates because I want 6 shapes all together. So I'm going to ungroup each one and drag the solid shape, which is the cut line, to one side, and I'm going to do that on each one. So the shapes on the right hand side of the mat are all the cut line shapes that I'm going to cut in various scraps of coloured card. The dash line shapes are the ones that I'm going to arrange to put either on the front of a card, or in this case, the way I did it was on a matting layer for the front of the card. So I'm just going to select those and move them out of the way for the moment. and I'm going to come back to the basic shapes, and I'm going to choose a rectangle, and I'm going to rotate it. I want this rectangle to be, I think 5 inches high and 4 inches wide. So I'm going to untick the maintain aspect ratio and make it 5 on the height and 4 on the width. I've done that the wrong way around. I always do that. So 5 by 4. That's better. So this, in my case, is going to represent the matting layer for the front of my A6 card, which I think is the equivalent to an A2 card in the US. But obviously you can make it any size you like. And obviously if you wanted to do this directly on the front of the card, just scan your card through your scan and cut machine and then position these shapes manually on the machine. But this is the way I'm going to do it in Canvas, just to make it a bit easier. So with this rectangle selected, I'm going to make this just a cut line. Now I'm going to grab my shapes, which are all draw lines, and I'm going to position them how I want them on this matting layer. So I'm going to put 4. I'm just going to move that out of the way. So I'm going to position 4 in a line, and I'm going to just space them by eye. I could zoom in. I want the space roughly between them as a similar space. Then I'm going to select them. I'm going to come to edit, and I'm going to line them up centrally, so they all line up central to each other. And I'm just going to make them a group for now. And then I'm going to drag the other, where are my other 2 shapes. Just go back to the mat so I can see where they are. And I'm going to position these up here. So again, I'm going to zoom in just so that it's easier for me to see and for you to see on the screen. And I'm going to position those just in the spaces, if you like, so that this kind of corner is in the middle of this space, like that. Then I'm going to select them all and right click and group, and I'm just going to come back to the mat view. So this is the front matting layer of my card, which I have assigned as a cut line, and these are going to be positioned on there and there draw lines. So I'm now going to select both and group them, and then I'm going to give the project a name, and then I'm going to load this onto the machine. And then all as I did was I got some scrap card, and I positioned scrap card on the right hand side of my mat and put each one of these shapes on a different piece of scrap card. And then I put a piece of white card on this side of the mat. And then I asked the machine to cut. And by giving these a cut line and this outer edge as a cut line, it will only cut those first. And then without unloading the mat, I went back to the design and clicked draw, and then it just drew these shapes on this piece of card for me. And then once I unloaded that from the mat, I then stuck each of these bits of coloured card that I've cut from scrap card just over this matting layer. And that's how I made this card. So if that makes sense. So this layer here is the rectangle that I assigned a cut line to. And these are the draw shapes in the dash lines. And then these are the scrap pieces of card that I then just stuck into the centre. And then I put that whole thing on the front of a card. So I hope that makes sense. So please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.